Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the live stream that's going to help you upgrade your identity in 2026. We all know that 2026 is the year of the fire horse energy. Right now, we are moving away from Earth Snake, God bless, and moving wooden snake, I think is what it was, and moving into fire horse energy. So we have all come out of a massive shedding cycle and we are ready for expansion and momentum, which is all that 2026 is. So, this conversation is very much driven to help you understand some of the things that both Jen and I have noticed in our own upleveling of our identity in our lives coming into this year that are going to be really important for you also to consider if you're ready to have your best year in 2026 coming out of last year. So, quick introductions. If you're new to me, you're watching me from Jen's World. My name is Shakti Rios, and I am a business mentor. I'm a psychic strategist and also an energy healer for really iconic and brilliant entrepreneurs that are ready to scale from 100K to their first million. And I dedicate all of my time and focus to making sure that these incredible human beings know how to share their gifts, communicate their gifts, and sell their gifts at a very high level. Jen and I have been connected for a very long time, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself, and then we're going to jump right into this conversation.
Good
Right
morning,
away.
everyone. Thank you for having me, Shakti. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here. This is a really big stretch for me, right?
Yeah.
The concept of showing up. So today's identity chat is right on point for exactly where I'm moving into.
Yeah.
Um, I've changed my title a number of times because I kept trying to fit a box that really wasn't me. And so this year is more about unmasking and taking off the armor. And I am here for that with my clients.
Yes. Yes. So good. Perfect for this conversation. That's been a huge part of the work that we've done together as well. And the time that we've worked together is getting to the core of who am I and how do I want to serve? I would love to start the conversation there because I think this is probably a lot of women on your page are also either entrepreneurs or they are in an era of their life where they're defining that for themselves. Like, who am I? And what do I really want out of my life? And especially if you're within the ages, like if you're mid 30s to 50, that is like a really pivotal age of identity work, astrologically speaking, because you have so many very strong astrological incidences that are happening that are kind of calling you to the stage and asking you, like, why are you really here? What are you going to do? How are you going to live your life? Are you going to continue to live your life under these circumstances and parameters, or are you going to set yourself free and really like step into who you were designed to be in the world? That's like a huge conversation in that age range. So I would love to start by talking about some of the things you've noticed, Jen, that have been really pivotal for you to upgrade your personal identity. Like, what have been some of the things you've noticed that you're like, okay, these things have to be handled in order for me to be able to have a better business, better relationships, better relation to myself, that kind of stuff.
That's like perfect. I literally last year, so over the last couple of years, I had started developing some health issues and was like, yeah, I'm doing my thing. I'm showing up for other people. I'm in the
Yeah.
corporate world. I'm in those things. And then my body just kept screaming louder and louder
Yeah.
and louder. And so you are correct. That age range is spot on.
Huge.
And I'm on the high end of that range, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was like, I'm holding myself back.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge realization last year because I finally started listening to my body. There were a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, um, I would tackle like one thing and be like, I'm good now. And then something else would pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing small.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a huge thing that we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
across the bandwidth of people. And I serve people who are they're entrepreneurs, but they're also moms, daughters,
Mm-hmm.
partners. And you, when you notice one spot where you're over giving to someone else and under giving to yourself, it affects everything. And so that was actually the pivotal point for me last year, was my body was yelling at me again, right? It was telling me, it was making me aware. And so at first I just wanted to fight against it and be like,
Yeah.
all right, fine, let me do this, let me change this, let me, instead of listening to it,
Mm-hmm.
taking a break and honing in and just taking a moment to acknowledge where I was at. And I made some big changes. I walked away from a couple of opportunities that were not helping. They were more stressful.
Yeah.
Um, they were also keeping me small because I was focused on someone else's
Yeah.
ideas and opportunities instead of
Yeah.
really spending time in what I wanted. And so that part of it for me was like an aha moment the last month
Yeah.
or two of the year. And since then, making those pivotal changes in terms of how I'm spending my energy and where my focus is going, joining your new mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
um, using the human design information that I've had with you in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
just really stepping into like, who is Jen?
Yeah.
And and not just, I mean, I think I've always had sort of a list, a kind of an idea,
Mm-hmm.
but allowing myself to show up as her, giving myself that permission, where I think
Mm-hmm.
I was outsourcing that permission prior
Mm.
to.
Mm. So fucking powerful. You know what's so epic? You mentioned joining the new mastermind. I There is a mastermind that starts February 17th. It hasn't even officially started, and already it's like changing people's realities, which is the most fascinating part. I designed this mastermind to help people with high ticket offers, like how to become a high value expert, how to sell high ticket. That was the point of the mastermind. But the field energetics that I set for this mastermind was how to elevate your identity overall. That was the whole point of this field that I was holding, right? And what's really fascinating about everybody coming into this mastermind is that every single one of them has the same goal. It's like, how do I be more than I'm being right now? I don't just want to create a high ticket offer and sell it. Yes, I want to do that. But also, I'm here to become a huge version of me, to stop playing small, to step out and be like super big. And I love that so much that the people ending up in this space are all having the same desire. And it's, to me, it's such a testament of intention work and frequency work, because when I created this idea, when this was an idea in my mind before it started being an offer that I was selling, that was the intention. It's like, how do I take really incredible people and elevate everything they're doing times 10, so that when they step out into the world, not only are they selling high level, but they're being high level everywhere in their life, in their relationships, in their well-being, and the way that they talk, in their confidence, like just really elevating them. And that's been already happening. And just the few conversations we've had, the bonus calls we've had, the Telegram thread that we have that started early before the mastermind kicked off has been just insane. So I love that you mentioned that, because that is the somatic piece. I want to speak to that because I have a very long career in somatics and neural rewiring as well, and working with clients as a wellness practitioner for a very long time before I started doing business mentorship for wellness practitioners, which is what it developed into. And one of the things I find is that by the time the body gets involved, we're already at the last stage of manifestation of something. The body is not the first place it shows up, it's the last place it shows up. So by the time we're having a physical symptom, there's been stuff internal that has been ongoing, that has been unresolved. And then the body starts to yell, as the words that you use, scream. And then you start to go, oh shit. Because by the time it gets in the body, it's so obvious you can't ignore it. And that's why it goes into the body, to get your attention. Yeah. But before that, it usually starts with things like avoidance, fear, not feeling good enough, hiding, right? These are all emotional, energetic symptoms of you're not well. Something is going on. Yeah. And so if you're watching this live stream and you are an ambitious woman and you're trying to build the momentum in 2026, it's so important that you become what I call radically honest with yourself about how you're actually doing. Radically honest. Like, how am I actually doing in my health? how am I actually doing in my business? Am I pretending to show up for my business, or am I actually showing up? Am I saying that am I doing the things that scare me so I can grow, or am I just saying that I'm doing the things that scare me so I can grow? There's a big difference. There's a big gap between what we're actually doing and what we say we're doing. And I think to your point, Jen, you stepping into paid, the mastermind, that was your way of saying, like, I'm going to focus here and I'm no longer going to like putz around and pretend, like I'm going in and I'm going to do the work I need to do. Right. And that's our encouragement for everybody. Like going to 2026, like where is your I'm all in moment? Because that's what's going to be required of this year. This is not a gentle year. I just want to like drop that. 2026 is not a gentle year. It's just a different year than last year. So the fire horse is really fast momentum. Already in this first month, I have had so many opportunities flock at me. Stages, retreats, like it's been incessant. In the first, we're not even done with the first month, but that's because of all the work that happened in 2025. So I want to remind you, if you're watching this, that if your intention is to create a really exceptional 2026, the internal work comes first. We're going to riff on that because Jen, of all people, deeply understands the value of this.
Yes.
So Jen, share with us,
Sure
how
do.
true is it?
I'm like feeling it in all the ways, right?
Yeah.
So as Shakti said, we've been in each other's lives for, a few years now,
Yeah.
and I have always wanted to work with her at a different level than when I first met her. And I doubted myself to be able to step up to it. And I have been in her, she was her RSM and her
I
human
remember seeing.
design, and I learned
Mm-hmm.
about myself, and I was like, hey, there's a lot more to me. Like the pieces of me that I kind of hid behind and was like, oh, I can't do that. That'll be too much, too bold, too this, too that. Because it didn't really feel safe to be those things
Yes.
in my younger years. I was like,
Yes.
damn, they're really there. Like this was a validation that that was
Mm-hmm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a level of permission. So I've been quietly shifting and pivoting and learning and stepping into
Amazing.
who are those pieces of me? Which
Mm-hmm.
pieces of them really resonate? What feels good to me?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had a presence in a room with people. I have this beautiful ability to make people feel seen and heard, right? And I've seen it happen throughout my entire life, relationships, work, things of that nature. And there's always been this like authority hanging out in there. But she's been really quiet. But I have red hair, so I know the sass is in there, right? Like I have talked about this my whole life. Like I'm
Yeah.
growing gray, right? As I mature, I'm going gray, and I cannot see myself actually letting me go white for any time soon because the sass, the fire is in
Yeah.
me. And it's like I could feel this nudge happening all last
Mm.
year that was like, you've got to do something different. You
Mm.
are showing up in little ways for little people and then kind of showing up for
Mm.
yourself and then not really. Like
Mm.
you say
Mm.
you will, and I was in, but I was doing it in such tiny baby steps that it was like, I'm going to show up today and see how it goes. Okay, never mind. And I would watch myself keep doing
Mm.
that dynamic
Yeah.
back and forth and was like, all right, this is bullshit. Enough of that crap. And so when you had the 3-day challenge,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, ooh. And I actually said to somebody when the paid mastermind came to, and I was like, this is going to be a big stretch for me, and I'm still going for it.
Fuck yeah.
And it was trusting myself
Yes.
to step into it and not be like, all right, well, it was fun and I signed up for it and I did like half the things. It was like, oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
This is your moment. There was enough going on last
Mm.
year that I could really feel like an energetic push.
Mm.
And so creating this around identity, and then it's actually I had a little holiday edition for people who needed support. And I like stepped into it with I want to just support the community. And so I gave myself that I could use support during the holidays. Who couldn't, right? And
Mhm.
so that it just I stepped into it in a small way, but it wasn't really small. It was very big for me. But it was just supporting others, and it was like, yes, this is, I want more of that. That is
Mm.
where I'm feeling it. That is where I'm called. That is where I find joy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that we're talking about it. Like right now, I just launched a workshop this weekend on unmasking. Like,
Yes.
what are your social
Yes.
um, masks that you wear? And
Love
it's a
that.
2 hour virtual workshop, and it's kind of a cross between like a vision board, but then also like a word intention setting for the year. And it just came to me. So I
Mm.
feel that spark coming back, that energy coming
Yes.
back, that creativity, because I know
Yes.
I'm stepping up for me and my
Yes.
business, and most importantly, for clients. Like I'm
Yes.
serving the people who need this
Yes.
energy, who
So
need
good.
this knowledge.
So good. You've said so many important things in this conversation, and I just want to acknowledge too that is like so they're so core to why I created paid and why I do what I do, period. The first is that as your frequency starts to raise, you start to get more creative. You also start to see more opportunity. When your frequency is very low and it's very heavy, you can't see opportunity. Actually, you're like blind to your own opportunity. You're very limited. It's like having blinders on. You can't actually see what's around you and what's possible for you. As soon as your frequency starts to lift, your consciousness starts to expand. And we talked about this inside of a transmission that I gave inside of paid. The expansion of consciousness activates a different part of your brain. It activates more creativity and more possibility. And all of a sudden, you start creating offers and you get an idea and then you move with it and it works. And it works because it's being born of a much higher frequency that's much cleaner and it's much more attuned to you. That's so beautiful and so important for everybody to hear that part of creating an identity for yourself, elevating your identity is how much more opportunity you actually attract into your life when you have a more elevated frequency. The other thing you mentioned is serving clients better. And one of the things that happened when I created paid and I priced it the way that I priced it was because one of the things I will be teaching inside paid is pricing for transformation, creating a hell yes from people that's a line in the sand. That's actually the whole point of that mastermind of 12 weeks is teaching you how to create line in the sand moments for your clients because I love helping people, but what I love more is transforming them at such a fundamental level that they never forget the experience that they had. That it becomes like a core memory in their memory bank. And it becomes a there was my life before I did this, and then there was my life after I did this. This is something that I'm deeply obsessed with. So when I talk about creating high value offers, this is what I mean. Creating a very valuable offer. That's not necessarily tied to a price point, but it can be for some people. And so the art of creating high value offers is something that it really changes the way you serve because then you also show up in a level of power and a level of conviction that you didn't have before. And that means you deliver a quality of your work that is so elevated in comparison to what you could have delivered. Right. And so this is something that I'm obsessed with because the concepts that are happening inside of paid already and will once it officially kicks off is how to become a high value expert and deliver world class experiences for your clients at the same time. And what this does beautifully is it escalates your authority, it escalates your reputation, it creates insane testimonials for you because your transformations are going to be so epic. And all of a sudden, you're on the map in such a huge way. Like, I can't think of a better setup for both client and provider than creating something like that. And I feel like this is exactly what you're stepping into, which is very exciting. That's
It
very
is very
exciting.
exciting. It really
Yeah.
literally was a line in the sand for me moment,
Yeah.
because it was like, fuck yeah, I need to be in this.
Yes.
And
100%.
there's a fire in there, right? This is a
Mm,
rebirth for me. This portion of it is truly a rebirth. What this last month or two
yeah.
in and of itself. And so ultimately there's like a, a shit ton firehouse, like just burning, waiting.
Mm,
And I
Yeah.
know that once I literally step into it fully, allow myself to step into it fully and have that guidance and like
Mhm.
fuck, I'm gonna be like there she is.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
there's the girl, there's the woman
Yes.
that all of the people that I know are like, I see that in you.
Hmm.
No, 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 no. It doesn't work if you see it in me. It works if I see it in me. And then I can bring it to my folks. And that is
Yes.
why. That's it right there.
Yes. So good. So already we've talked about if you're elevating your identity in 2026, there is this undertone of the courage to draw a line in the sand for you. Like that's something we've talked about in everything we've mentioned so far. There's got to be a line in the sand moment for you where you decide that you want more for your life and for your experience of reality. There's got to be a radical honesty that comes with that too, of being able to, I call it tell on yourself. Like you've got to be able to tell on yourself in a very real way and don't hold back. Like if your best friend came to you and was like, I need you to tell me the truth about this guy or this dress or this thing, you would fucking tell them. So you need to tell on yourself the way you would tell your best friend. That is not a good idea. Or that you're playing too small, or you're pretending and you're not really doing. Like, tell on yourself because telling on yourself is an act of radical self love. That's another huge part of elevating your identity. Tell on yourself, get radically courageous with your reality. Again, the momentum of 2026 is so epic that if you decide to go all in on something, the feedback you're going to get, the feedback loop you're going to create will be so strong. Like, literally, surf this wave is what I'm saying. Surf this wave. Don't miss this wave because this wave will create so much result so quickly in comparison to years before it. Like that's the energy. So I would love to wrap up by what would you say to someone who's watching this live stream and they're like, man, I really want to make some bold moves in my life, whether it's like personally or professionally, but they feel scared, just like you did. They feel hesitant and they're like, I don't know, but whether it's investing in their health or maybe they're listening to this recording and they're like, oh, paid, that mastermind sounds really epic and I want to learn more about it. What would you say to them, the ones that are on that edge, based on your experience and based on what you've seen yourself do?
So for me specifically, I was operating in a place of force, like
Yeah.
force myself to stay in a box or
Mm-hmm.
force myself to come up with an idea that would bring something forward. And I had to sit with it. I had to allow, I had to like listen to myself. It was, you know, just the pivots that I've made so far are affecting not just how I show up in the world, but it does affect like how I'm showing up in my relationships, my partner, with family. I'm just steady. I'm more steady in who I am. I'm feeling that
Mm,
steadiness, that
love that.
grounded,
So
and
good.
it's intention, right? And so it is. I am noticing a shift in my body. I feel like those little armor pieces are starting to come off because I'm allowing
Mm,
myself to be seen. And so, for somebody who is struggling or um, hesitant, reach out if you have questions. Shakti's
mm-hmm.
brilliant in so many ways,
Thank you.
and I've watched myself change in just a short amount of time being part of this particular mastermind, right? But I've
Mm-hmm.
watched myself change along the way with your work. Um, and I've seen other people, I have other friends who have been part of your world, and they are also experiencing just big massive shifts in
Yeah.
being able to show up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a huge thing. So that honesty piece can be hard,
Mm-hmm.
and allow yourself grace and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
You're
So
not
good.
going to be nasty to your best friend when she asks a bunch of
It's
things.
true.
You'd be like, girl, I don't know. Let's talk about this. Like, I don't know about, let me talk about
I
this.
love you. Bye.
But, but you're not going to be like,
Yeah.
and so you can't do that with yourself either,
Yes.
because then all like you're all you're doing is telling your inner child that she shouldn't come forth and trust
Totally.
that you can lead the way, right? And so we
Totally.
don't want that. So when you are standing in your truth
Mm-hmm.
and ready to shift, but not knowing how, most of the time there's this trial and error. Part of my human design is built that way as a 1-3
Yeah.
profile.
Same,
That
same.
trial and error.
Same, same.
um, but I always saw it as a failure,
Mm.
and I didn't hear it as an experiment, if you will. I always heard it as like, all right, you did the thing, don't do that thing again, or don't do anything similar to that again because it's a failure. And that's really not what it's about. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you had this base piece correct, and you just needed this one tweak or this one pivot. And so the mindset can very easily be like, okay, well, I'm never going to try this whole chapter again.
Yep.
And then you're missing out on your genius, you're missing out on a bunch of gifts. You're so allowing yourself to see and experience and acknowledge and do it with grace and compassion while you're being honest and saying, fuck yeah, I need to make a change. That's a big step
Yes.
and absolutely worth it.
So good. So good. Just watching you share on this live stream and thinking back to when we first started working together, it's such a big jump. Like I'm honestly like I'm so moved by it. I'm so moved by it because the level of clarity and conviction in your voice is so strong. I'm getting teary-eyed because I just remember, and it's like that's the point. The point is that you don't spend another year, another moment questioning who you are, and that instead you decide that you deserve to have a life that you love, a business that you love, a relationship to yourself that you love, that you decide that your joy and your potential deserve to be experienced at its fullest. That's like, that's the point, right? For me, that's 2026 is that encapsulated. That's the vibe. So I love everything that you said. So good. If you have any questions about Jen's work, please reach out to her. She is so brilliant when it comes to emotional support and the emotional armor that we carry. That is something that she specializes in and that she loves to work with her clients. And the paid mastermind we've talked about and referenced is open for enrollment. And we officially start February 17th. We have a bonus call actually January 20th called High Ticket Prep. And then we already have a Telegram broadcast channel where you're able to ask questions and get coached via audio in real time. And it's already proving to be one of my favorite places to hang out. So right below this video, there will be a landing page for you to be able to read about paid and sign up or book a call. And again, if you have any questions, as Jen said, I'm also open for you to drop us a message and have a conversation with us. Thank you again, Jen, for being on this live. It was
Yes,
so good to connect
thank
with you
you.
and
Thank you.
chat. All right, my loves.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.